Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Spirited Art Studio. My name is Laura Foster, and I'm an art therapist, and I facilitate this art studio. I'm just happy to be here tonight. It's been a whole 3 weeks since we've been live with our Spirited Art Studio, and I've been in BC for a while. And I'm back and happy to be back, feeling refreshed after just retreating out to a beautiful retreat area on Vancouver Island. I also was visiting family there. I have my a sister and a brother and their families, and as well as my dad and my stepmom and just a whole bunch of folks, and was out there, and with me was my son and his new fiance, and so it was just lots of celebrating and fun and relaxation. Yeah, but the big deal was heading out there, getting on the plane during this difficult time for travel, but I did it. And I'm happy to say that I made it back. And it was quite a time. I wore that mask because I was transferring planes. I wore this mask for a number of hours, beginning with getting into public cab. So I was having mixed feelings about being out in that kind of situation, feeling, this is really a difficult time and this is really hard wearing this mask, but at the same time thankful that there's these precautions being put in place to help us to keep safe together and still manage to reach destinations around here in Canada and spend time with each other and just find ways of doing that, being out in public safely. I look around with my mask on and I just feel, again, with mixed feelings, right? With, having to wear the mask, it feels a bit like, just kind of like an ordeal, something that is frustrating, a bit of an annoyance, but at the same time, it's critical, right? It's really important that we're doing this as a means to stay safe. And so at the same time as I stand there with my mask on, waiting for my luggage, and there's all kinds of people coming and going, I feel glad that I have this mask on of protection, going out and about very closely to me in the space. And and just having also being armed with hand sanitizer and spraying down my space on the aircraft, and then having my hand sanitizer to use off and on periodically anytime I was touching anything. So I was just really, like I said, mixed emotions, and really, really happy to reach my destination over on Vancouver Island in Courtenay Comox area, and also really glad to be home as well, like just to get back home safely again, and hoping that everything is good, everybody's safe, come home and feel that I did not pick up any virus on the way or on the way back. And so, yeah, just feeling glad to be at home. So, yeah, I was having feelings about that, and just what it means to be at home and what it means to just feel glad to be home. And so I have this little reading that I just wanted to share about that. And it's from Isaiah 32:18, and it's a verse that says, "My people will live in peaceful places and in safe homes and in calm places of rest." And it says here, home is the place where you feel most comfortable, the place where you can kick off your shoes, put on your bathrobe, and relax. God has created this place for you, a place where His grace can soothe your heart in a special way. So, a place where God's grace can soothe your heart in a special way. So, however you are feeling that today, it can be in a safe place, whether you're visiting family or you're in your own home, and what that home means to you. It is nice to feel safe, even if home might mean your home city, your home neighborhood, your home. Hello, Pam. Thank you for saying hi. Good to see you tonight. And yeah, so we're just talking about home and feeling safe at home, and how that means a lot of different things. A lot of changes have come and gone within the last 6 months, and being safe means a whole lot different. And just being able to have a home base to go to, just a place where you feel safe, has just become more important than ever for all of us. So, as I'm just sitting here relaxing and being at home, I have been working more again on my botanical sketches. So this is the one that I was working on in the last video live stream session in July, and it's now finished, so I just thought I'd show you that. And so the botanical sketches are just something where you can just take some time to create very mindful, detailed sketches of some kind of plant or botanical gardens, even just picking something from your garden so that you can have a close look at it, look at it really closely. So this is from my plant. Thank you, Pam. Glad you think so. So this is my from my potted plants in my front garden, and this is from a begonia, I believe, if I'm correct. So I just pulled this piece off to show again how easy it is to just bring a piece of your garden plants into your house and just do some sketching. And that can be just a really nice, mindful, artful, just peaceful way to just relax and unwind. And something that I'm really feeling like doing as I've just arrived home from my travels. So I thought that this was just a perfect way to relax and to share with you what this means for me. So as you can see, there's the stem to think about and the detail of the leaf and how the variegation of color of green is on the leaves and how they stem out from how they branch out from this main stem. And then the blossoms on the end, these ones happen to be white. Of course, there's a whole variety of different colored begonias. And these ones are white, and then they have little yellow centers. So just taking time to examine it more closely, the yellow in the centers is made up of a series of little yellow stamens, and they kind of look like a whole bunch of little yellow dots in the center of the flowers. And so I noticed, like, even when I did this drawing of the lavender, and then I was out in BC and I went to a lavender farm, and I could immediately identify the lavender because of having done these sketches and having a close look and examination of what the leaves look like and what the blooms look like and the stems, and just how the overall impression of the detail of the lavender looks. It made it easy to identify it, and not only when I went specifically to a farm where there's lavender, but also when I was at a cafe in a resort that had a whole bunch of lavender on the edge of the gardens, and I could again see that it was lavender. And I pulled off one of the leaves like this and smelled it, and I could smell that it smelled exactly like the lavender essential oil that I also have, because I really enjoy this aroma of lavender essential oil. So I recognized it first by sight and then by scent, but I really appreciated so that the value in just taking time to look at it closely. And so then from now on, because I've done that and taken time to really have a close look at the detail, to the point where to draw it out carefully, I now have a really good understanding of what lavender looks like. And so I'll probably always, be able to identify at least this particular variety of lavender. So now I'm just going to walk through this sketching step by step of a different piece of botanical leaf and blooms, botany, botanical sketch of this begonia. And so then that will allow me to know from now on, whenever I see a begonia, I'll know, really recognize begonia. I mean, I already do, honestly, have a pretty good idea of begonia. Begonias are great for shade. They really like living in the shade with some sun, and so they've done well in the front of my home where there is lots of shade. So first going to sketch it out by starting with a pencil, and just going to flip to a fresh page. And so I'm going to, just start by just having an overall look at the stem and the leaf and the blossoms, and just kind of quickly sketch them out roughly with my pencil so that I have a rough idea before I get started with too much detail of how it's just going to sit on my page in a sort of a composition. So this is kind of like creating music. You create the overall composition first, and then you break it down into details. So and I'm just noticing, just as I'm beginning to look at this little piece of stem and leaves and blossoms that I just pulled, I'm noticing all the things that I didn't really notice at first because I wasn't really taking a close look at it. So I think that is really the beauty of sketching, is that you just get a really nice view of things that you otherwise would not. So that's, if you can see that, that's a rough pencil sketch just to start off with. And sorry, I just keep adjusting this to just hoping that I would be able to get the sketchbook into the, or maybe that's a little bit better. And so I have the begonia, the live piece of stem sitting in front of me on this piece of paper. So it's kind of like doing a still life drawing, except for it is a live piece of stem for the moment. So I'm just having this sit on here in front of me as I sketch, and I've sketched with my pencil to start with, and now I'm just going to go over top of this quick pencil sketch with an ink pen, and this makes a little bit more permanent sketch. And it at the same time allows you to sort out detail. And you want to take your time and just slowly, just take time to pay attention and notice and really what it is in front of you, and how the leaves are detailed, the way they have notches on the edges of them, the way they sit on the stem. as you get further out into the edge of the branch. You begin to sketch in also the blossom. So I'm just going to show you what I've got so far. So those are some of the leaves stemming out. Hello, Shah. Thank you. Good to see you too. Thank you for saying hello. So I'm doing another botanical sketch, and this one is a begonia, piece of begonia. And this, just to bring you up to speed, this is what I'm sketching. So I'm about to sketch now the blossoms. And then I'm going to bring color into it, and that will be the thing. So somebody was asking me, how difficult is it to sketch while you're also talking? And I just want to tell you that this is a bit of a challenge, because your artistic creative side, your thought processes involved in creating and sketching, is kind of a different part of your brain functioning than is your verbal language. And so verbalizing at the same time as the sketching presents a bit of a challenge, but it's fun to have a challenge. So, and it's just great to connect with you again, both you, Pam and Shell, and any of you who happen to be watching. Hello, great to see you again. So glad to be back with the Facebook live stream and the Spirited Art Studio. And I will also be live streaming again on Wednesday from 1:30 to 3. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be talking to you more about the programming and what it's going to look like in September, because this is unbelievably, this is the last week of August. And so this is bringing our summer programming to an end after a bit of a break while I was away. And so on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about doing things a little bit differently in the fall as we wait to transition back into being live together in the space. We're going to look at doing some other possibilities as well. So I invite you to, if you can, to tune in live on Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon at 1:30. But also, I believe there is also some live streaming going on from this Facebook page, our Spirited Arts Movement, with our other artistic director, our artistic director, Brooke Leafso, I believe will be also facilitating something live on Facebook in the morning, so please check that out if you can as well. And if you can't if you can't check it out in person, I mean, like when it's live, I feel like you are in person because you are saying hello, so thank you for that. But if you can't, you can also, of course, come back and watch the recording. So if you're not able to see what I'm going to be describing on Wednesday afternoon about the fall programming, you can always come back and check it out at your own convenience. So you're welcome to do that as well. So I'm just going to continue with my little sketch, and as I just slowly take my time and notice the details as I draw them, and just sort of mindfully take my time and allow myself to see the shapes exactly as they are, as they appear, and just draw. Just allow it sort of to flow out in front of me. Just looking at the shapes and the relationship of the shapes, and not really thinking about too much about, oh, this is a leaf and this is a blossom, and thinking about how they should look. You want to really look at each little shape and just notice how, whether they're curved and how they curve and how they interrelate and relate to each other, and just take your time with that. And eventually you have a little sketch that gives the impression of the botanical piece that you are sketching. So this is my little sketch of begonias that I actually have never ever sketched before. Just like my sketch of lavender was the first time ever that I really took time to look really closely at the detail of the leaves and the detail of the petals and how they are structured and how they line up and go together, and just the intricate structure. I'm always amazed by how the petals and leaves of any kind of botanical garden, how they seem to defy gravity the way they can. I mean, they're very delicate and fragile, and yet they can just stand and withstand the breeze and the wind, and they just can withhold and just even just hold the space as the air moves around them, and just are able to, like, just, it seems like with somehow they are able to, even though they seem very top heavy, they're able to just be, right? So just really beautiful the way our blossoms and leaves and anything organic is really always an amazing wonder, part of our creation. And so, this is pretty much my drawing of a begonia. So I'll just lift it up and show you. This is my quick little sketch of a begonia. And Pam, you have an appointment on Wednesday, so So you watch the recording because you want to find out about the programs. Awesome, thank you. And Shell, I wrote it in my planner, excited to hear Wednesdays into info about the fall. Super, thank you. I'm glad for your interest. That's awesome. It just seems to me to be just such a quiet evening. I think maybe after being in the hustle and bustle of the crowds of an airport and just all of the jet engines and all the noise around that, it just seems just so quiet and calm and just nice to be back at home this evening. So now I'm just going to take some time to add some color to the sketch, and that will just further give it detail that just distinguishes the leaves and the blossoms and how they're detailed. So I'm just going to quickly shade them in, and I do that by just varying the shades of greens as they appear and as I notice them, as I look at them on the actual piece, and work to add the color into my drawing that emanates what I'm seeing as best I can. So there's a variation in the leaf and the stem from dark green to in the center, and then it goes just in kind of like in the veins. It gets darker from the center and then lighter to the edges. So I'm just going to quickly sketch that in with my colored crayons, and I think just looking at this, I would want to find an additional green that I would probably add as well, just to add further variation to the color, because as you can see in these leaves and stems, the green is quite dark. So I would want to add quite dark coloring in my drawing as well. Right now I don't have the darkest color with me, so I'm going to add that in later, and I will add photos to the Facebook page as well when I'm through. So in just a few minutes I'll show you how I rendered this. So that's I guess a word in vocabulary of sketching. I'm rendering the colors of the leaves. So I'll show you how I've rendered them in a minute. And really, kind of just an intuitive thing. You just look, you notice, you draw what you see. And you have your own interpretation, and your interpretation of what is unique, it's yours, and it's beautiful just as much as anybody else's. And it's all about just the sheer enjoyment of relaxing and sitting back and enjoying the process. Okay, so just show you what I've got so far. So that's filling in the greens with a variety of green colors. And now I'm just going to do a little bit more in the blossom area of the blossoms. And what I'm going to do is just add very light green in the white, because although they are white blossoms, if you look at them closely, there is green within the centers and edges of the blossoms. So that's what I'm going to attempt to add here. And like I said, it just really is fun to do, because you notice the detail the more you look at it, the more you study it, the more you become familiar with it. And that is what makes it the process of studying botanicals, sketching them, getting to know the plant, and this is how botanists identify plants. It's a part of the science of botany. So I encourage you sometime when the weather is nice, in these last few days of week of August and moving into September, and even as the leaves change, to find even a nice leaf on a tree, or that has fallen from a tree, and then just picking that leaf up and bringing it in and sketching the detail of the leaf and coloring it in with a variety of colored pencils. Colored pencils are nice because, as opposed to pastel or chalk, they don't smudge so much. They stay nice in your sketchbook. They stay a little bit nicer. And the other nice thing about them is they can be just a whole range of color, from very dark to very light. And you can have a lot of control in that by how much you darken it in or keep it light. So there's lots of variety of it, and it's just a great form of art that is mindful and relaxing, and just a great practice that we can do to just find grounding and centering in our day. So Pam, this is a great idea to do in the leaves when they start to fall. Yes, I believe so. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing on Wednesday as well, is grabbing a few leaves that might have already fallen. I noticed when I was in BC that some of the maple leaves had already been falling to the ground, and they seem to be ahead of us with leaves turning, which I was surprised to see. I thought that that being that we are a cooler climate, that our fall would be sooner than theirs, but that is not the case. I guess it depends on the different deciduous trees and plants and how sensitive they are to the different temperatures, and how they may begin to change color before Poplars, like maple trees, colors begin to turn sooner, maybe, because that's just the plant, that's just what they are. So be interesting to look that up and find out that information, and we can have maybe a bit more discussion about that. And I love that sunflower that you just shared too, Shell. And sunflowers are really beautiful right now at this time of year. And yeah, and some of the other perennials that begin to bloom at this time of year, like the brown-eyed Susans and echinacea and others. And if you happen to think of any, please provide information and feedback today or whenever you have a moment, or on Wednesday if you are able to tune in on Wednesday afternoon. We shall see you then, and I'll just say goodbye for now. Thanks for being here. Bye.